Ta-da! Episode
Ta-da!
18 for Tony Davis.
Here I am, and Tony Hauser. Here he is
Yes.
in the chicken t-shirt.
I'm a chicken. Want to play chicken?
Game over, man.
Want to play the chicken game? Play the chicken game. Come. Game over. Okay. Enough fun. This is a serious matter. This is a serious show. I mean,
Yes, it is. It
yeah,
is.
there are serious authors.
Got to
Uh,
talk about a very serious technique called splatting.
yeah,
Yeah.
because we have another fill factor article.
We have a pretty classic, if there is such a thing, fill factor article.
Well, it's
about
actually
technique in.
yeah, it's a basic article. This is a basic technique you need to have in your backpack, in your tech backpack, to do
Yeah.
a lot of things pretty smoothly, right?
Yes, it's a powerful technique in PowerShell is splatting. But if you use it with Flyway, it also becomes a great way to sort of like define parameter sets per purpose, like for a specific command or a specific database, and then combine them flexibly and provide them to Flyway all in one go. And that's called the splat. And if you do it in the right way, Flyway expands it. PowerShell expands the splat into something that Flyway understands, and it can read all the parameter values. So you do so it all takes minimal typing. That's the whole point. This is kind of interactive use of Flyway.
Yeah, so I once submitted an article which got tech reviewed by Phil.
And you got told off.
And they were like, why are you not using splatting? So he was literally splatting me, so like, bam, in the face.
Good splat around the chops, yes.
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, what is splatting? And it was a few years back, but I looked up my research for that, and it is because the characters used for splatting. So in PowerShell, it's an @ but in different languages, it are other symbols.
He does say that it could be a $sign or
an asterisk. But
asterisk,
yeah, it looks like a character that will just spread out the information, the array in your application or in your
as Phil says, like the result of an insect hitting a windscreen.
Yeah, splat.
So Phil explains what splatting is and why you want to do it with Flyway, and he talks about the idea that Flyway is very, very flexibly configured, so it provides configuration files at the project, user, and installation level. You should use those. So anything that's static, to provide, and you want to provide default values, put them in the configuration files. But then on top of that, you've got kind of more dynamic values, which will vary depending on the task you're doing, or the database, or the command. You want to provide user placeholder values, all this sort of stuff that's kind of specific.
You don't want to type that in time after time.
You can't, even if you put everything you can in the configs, you're still going to do a lot of typing if all the rest has got to come on the command line. Avoid that by splatting. So this tries to sum up the technique that Phil demonstrates in code. So he defines 3 arrays, one for the info command.
Yeah.
And he defines what he wants for that, and he wants the output in JSON, for example. So there's that parameter in there. He provides the information that will allow you to connect to the development database. That's a dev array. And then he has a kind of general array, like just stuff. I want clean disabled set to false. I want reporting turned off. I want it to know that it's me, just your license key, whatever else you want to put in a kind of general array. And then you splat it. You literally go Flyway ampersand splat.
Yeah.
And as you can see in the middle one, what PowerShell does is it expands that splat into like something Flyway actually instantly recognizes, a space separated string, which is the only way you can provide those values that Flyway will recognize.
Yeah, because Flyway is sensitive.
Yes.
So because it has to go in like this big string, or else it will fail. Because when I got this feedback from Phil, I started using it, and the first times it failed because it kept some moaning about I'm missing this, I'm missing that, but it wasn't really missing it, but because it wasn't splat the right way, Flyway didn't understand it as a string.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, so it's quite sensitive in that way. But if
Yeah.
once you get it right and it recognizes that as that string, it can read. Off you go, and you don't have, like you say, there's almost no typing there. You just have to tell it what arrays to use,
Yeah.
and that's it. He goes through like those details. He says like, okay, he has a section where about how do I read the connection details a bit more securely, but you'll have your own way of doing that, no doubt. And then he talks about, well, actually, there's certain commands, like the new add command that's come in the Flyway CLR, which it's got a whole range of parameters you're going to have to supply, and they're also all entirely specific to that command. So just define an add array, and once you've defined it,
There you have
you
it.
don't have to do all that typing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
it.
actually the whole goal he's after. So
And
less
then
typing, more standardization.
yeah, and he tackles a very specific and useful goal at the end there with like, you can use this technique to get the current schema version of your database because it's available in the JSON output of info. So you just splat an array that's defined to get it out from there, and you can provide that version number to anything. So he likes to provide that version number. So when he creates a new version, he automatically creates a script that will build that version, and he puts the version number in the file name, so you know what version it's building. So all sorts of little simple development tasks that you might want to perform. This sort of stuff is really useful. Really useful.
So
And
this
like
is
you say, you can.
This is a real classic article for your basic knowledge using automation and CLI tools, right?
Exactly right. This is core stuff. Yeah, it's a very powerful technique in PowerShell, but how do you use it in Flyway? This is what you need to know.
This was helpful for us. So thank you for explaining Splatting to us, Phil. So not only in reviews with stuff you had to see on my scripting skills, but now everyone can leverage these splatting techniques.
I think so. If you read this article, you should get it. Even I got it. And
Wow.
I know. And my PowerShell skills are like,
So you actually got 2 Tonies in a row. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good score.
No, both Tonie. I know. Yeah, this Tonie finally gets splatting as well after this article, because I always went like, I know what you're going on about, Phil, but sure.
Okay.
My confession. But yeah, this article, I was like, oh, I get it. There you go.
Okay, cool.
Take a read. See if it's a useful technique for you.
Yeah. And the only thing we can say, till next time then.
Till next time, as always. Cheers, Tonie.